morning. The long international break is finally done. European club football returns this weekend. Who will suffer most from an international break hangover?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know that I have a sense of that, or really thought about that too much. You look at the teams that had a bunch of players leave. We had a couple of players pick up injuries over the break. I have no idea. I don't know how to address this, so don't think we're avoiding it. But I have no idea what happened with Kylian Mbappe is going to affect him moving forward. I look at your eyes get really big.
I don't know. I have my 10-foot pole around here
Uh-huh.
somewhere that I don't
Yeah.
really want to pick up. But
Yeah.
my initial thoughts at perusing the weekend schedule, a stumbling block for the big teams coming off the international break. Arsenal away at Bournemouth seems like a bit of a banana peel
Does
game,
it?
in my
Does it?
opinion.
I have not read up. Do we have, as Americans are concerned in that game, if you're not an Arsenal fan, if you're not a Bournemouth fan, would be whether or not Tyler Adams is set to perhaps make the bench, be involved in some manner. And there have been some reports coming into the break that Tyler might be ready to do some things. Now, I'm still seeing him listed as doubtful in the places I go to check this stuff, so I'm not going to get ahead of myself. But that is interesting that you mentioned that. I mean, Arsenal obviously they're right there. They're a point back of Liverpool, tied with Manchester City. But I wouldn't say that they have the toughest challenge of the top three. I think it's Liverpool that probably does, right, as they go up against Chelsea.
Yeah, this topic comes to mind because Liverpool, their only defeat of the season, came to I think Nottingham Forest went at
Nottingham
home
Forest.
after
Yeah,
the September
it's a good point.
window, and they will be taking on Chelsea. Definitely the marquee game of the Premier League calendar on Sunday midday. Liverpool Chelsea. I really don't know what to expect because the performance was so different following the last international break. I
Yeah.
was asked last night, who do you favor? A Chelsea fan asked me, and I really had no answer. It could be any result, in my opinion.
Yeah, I see that Marco Correa has a red card suspension. So does Fafana.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Becker picked up that injury before the international window, so you're working with a backup goalkeeper. Although I don't think is there really a concern at goalkeeper for Liverpool, despite the fact that Becker is your clear number one.
Kelleher has done a good job whenever he's been called in.
Yeah, and he was ill and wasn't able to play when Becker was initially injured, but I think he's back. So Kelleher's and played very well last year in Becker's stead when he had the opportunity. I think he's probably not long for Liverpool if he wants to start and they want to hold on to Becker. Although who knows what's going to happen there. But yeah, that's certainly an interesting element of the Premier League proceedings. Manchester City with Wolves, I wouldn't expect any real problems there for Manchester City, but it does look like, they do also have some players who are missing that could be a factor. Not even talking about Rodri, who you kind of have to put out of your mind because he's not coming back for the full season. What else do you got, Robert, in terms of what you're looking for?
The last one of note in the Premier League calendar, Manchester United hosting Brentford, just because they've had their struggles against Brentford in the past, coming off the international break, and it's been all the controversy with Eric Ten Hag, and then the dismissal of Ferguson and all that. It seems to be there could be a firestorm brewing there.
Yeah, and a bigger to add to the problems that Ten Hag already has. How many problems does he have? 10? More than 10. I don't know. Kabi Manu is going to be missing for a while, at least a month. I think they're talking about Manu with a muscle injury. So that's a midfield option that Ten Hag no longer has as he goes into the next phase and really coaching for his job. I mean, let's be frankly honest about this. The fact Eric Ten Hag is still holding on to his job is a big upset, a giant shock. Tuchel was in the picture, it sounded like, for Manchester United as a possibility. He's off the board. I mean, I know there are some other options out there, but, Ten Hag can't be too comfortable, and you've really got to win at home against Brentford if you want to keep that job.
Looking around the continent, Real Madrid visits Celta Vigo. Celta Vigo has provided some resistance in the past, and then Barcelona welcomes Sevilla. Never an easy game there. And then going to Italy, AC Pulisic take on Udinese, and Juve host Lazio.
Yeah, back into the league campaign for Christian Pulisic, who obviously great form coming into the international break. Played the one game against Panama. You hope he doesn't that doesn't stop his momentum as he goes back into Italy. Definitely, I think a lot of people, fans of the national team, have seen that video of him playing. He's in a golf cart. He's just with some guy playing golf. I don't know if he knew he was being recorded. It felt a little uncomfortable, like he was being recorded without him knowing. But he just says, like, yeah, Milan's great. It's been great for me. Our stadium's amazing. You got to come out. Like, he clearly is feeling very, very good about his situation. Now, it's not as good for Milan as a team in sixth place on 11 points, 5 points back of Napoli in the early stages. So, they got to start making their push, or Fonseca might not be long for that job. We wondered if he was going to be fired before the break. Coming out of it, well, you better do some work here. And Udinese is a spot ahead of Milan in the table, so they've been pretty good this season so far.
If you want to throw it in the chat, what are you looking forward to watching most this weekend? We'll come to that at the end of the show. If you want to reach out, Kick Around on the X and the Twitter, and write us a note. Morningkickaround@gmail.com.